Hey everyone. So today we are going to understand, or maybe I'll tell you guys what I think about a topic. And I first thought about it like 2 days earlier. I don't think anybody has made any videos about this. I couldn't find any. But I call this thing the time traveler's disruption paradox. Okay, so to understand this, you have to first understand two things: that how can we go forward and backward in time. So the way we do it in not in classical physics, but we know that we can travel in future by creating a strong gravitational field around us, or maybe by entering a very strong gravitational field. For like, if we go near black holes, for example, if we go near the event horizon of a black hole for seconds and then we come out, for the outer world years would have passed. So that's basically time traveling in future. We can do that, and we have done that. Some of the astronauts who are in the space station have already traveled some 0.5 to 1.5 seconds in future. But the my what I want to say is that if you try to time travel in the past, if you do it somehow, okay, then there is a very particular series of events which happen, which because of which you will notice something. So for example, let's start our journey with a man named, any name, Ross. Okay, now here's Ross, and he has finally made a time machine which can travel both backward and forward in time. He can go wherever he wants to. Now this guy decides to go in the past and do something. He knows everything about the past. Okay, he has also studied history very um, briefly. So now he has a time machine which can go forward and backward in time. So let's say he chooses to go at the time of the 9/11 plane bombings. He wants to go in backward in time and tell the people that, hey, 9/11 is going to happen. This is what you have to do and whatsoever. Okay, so he goes back in time with his time machine, and when he arrives there, he calls the police. He actually waits for the plane to take off, and then he calls the police that this and this is happening. Maybe, okay, I don't know when it's gonna come. Just he stops 9/11 from happening. That is the thing. Okay. Now the thing is that when he has now traveled into the past, now he has stopped 9/11 from happening. Okay, now he wants to go back and see his family again. So he gets into his time machine, he presses the button of time travel into the future, and he waits for the amount of time he had theorized it would take him to reach there, and he finally opens the door of the time machine. He has got into the future now. The way he got it was by using gravitational fields. Now when he would open the door, he would realize that his family doesn't exist anymore, and nothing happens. He, in this particular future, didn't even made the time machine because he wasn't there. Now what he really did was that when he traveled back into time, he actually disrupted the atoms there. Now one atom would disrupt two atoms, then those two atoms would disrupt many more atoms, and so on and so on and so on, and end up disrupting billions of atoms, trillions, quintillions, sextillions of atoms. Okay, so now when he has disrupted these many atoms, and we know that butterfly effects take place. Okay, butterfly effect is basically a small event triggering a chain of big events, and basically causing big events. Okay, we can learn about butterfly effect more. So my point is that maybe we haven't seen any time travelers or any time machines because those time travelers decided to travel back in time and took the time machine with them, and there is no way they can get into the timeline they left. For example, if this is the you all have seen the Marvel's movies, right? They talk about different timelines. This is a timeline, this is a branch of another timeline, this branch is because another chain of events caused it. No, that's I would that is how I am considering it right now. I might change it later, but just bear with me. So let's say that he decides to go back in the past. Now he okay wait he goes into the past. Okay, goes into the past, he's there and creates another timeline. Now when he has created another timeline, his universe is totally different. When the moment he entered the past, he has completely changed his timeline. He could not, no matter however hard he tries, he could not see his family again because he's now in a different timelines. And two timelines don't collapse. Never. They will never collapse because the events which were necessary to create those particular distinct events have now changed. So when he is in another timeline, okay, he is in another timeline, so no matter however he tries, he cannot get into the same timeline. So maybe, just maybe, we haven't seen any time travelers because people who actually invent time traveling go back into and decide to go back into the past never come back because they will not. We have the theory, if they decide to go back into the past, then they have now started another timeline and they will be in that timeline. They cannot come back. So maybe, just maybe, we haven't seen any time travelers because the people who actually made time machines and decided to use them traveled back in time and never, and they ended up in a completely different timeline now. uh, maybe they knew this was gonna happen, so they landed into an event which would not cause any big chain of events to happen and change his timeline. For example, if you've seen in Marvel movies, I did not actually inspire my idea for Marvel movies. I actually theorized it and realized that it kind of matches with the Marvel movies. So maybe he decides to go in a place, for example, during a volcano eruption, as movies have shown, and decides to be here because not much can change if he goes into a middle of a volcanic eruption, because people are still gonna die and it's not gonna change the timeline much. But here's the thing: the butterfly effect is so strong that even if you disrupt one atom, it will disrupt every atom on earth, as I think. So no matter whatever you do, how good your plan is, you cannot end up in the same timeline you left in. So yeah, maybe we just haven't seen any time travelers because they have disrupted the past and now are experiencing what would have happened if they had disrupted the past. Yes.